Hello, I'm Kraig Conrad, NCMA CEO, and I'm delighted to be here with Tim Applegate, Program Year 2026 Chair of the NCMA Board of Directors. Tim is a powerful leader who is passionate about building leaders and breaking down barriers for collaboration across acquisition teams and to deliver better outcomes. So, Tim, thank you for being here.
Thanks, Craig.
So, we're going to jump right into the questions. So, the first question up is please share more about your background. What inspired you to pursue a career in contract management, and what foundational experiences help you build your expertise?
Yeah, thanks, Craig. I appreciate that. My contracting acquisition journey began 37 years ago. I've done services acquisition and contract management starting as an Air Force officer and continued to where I am now as a federal civilian employee. And it was during my early years in Air Force contracting where I recognized the pivotal role that contract management plays in successful mission outcomes. And that energized me to continue on that contract management journey. And it was as I progressed in my career where I recognized how critically, vitally important contract management is, especially as I entered into more complex leadership roles or senior leadership roles and worked with more complex challenges in contracting and acquisition. But for me, contracting management is more than just contracts and paper and shuffling paper. It's about building relationships, it's collaboration, and it's driving for successful mission outcomes. And I think that's where NCMA and my involvement with NCMA starting in 1992 helped in my professional development and my career to where I am today, and where it's odd that I'm now the chair for NCMA. But NCMA has helped me throughout my career. It's provided a network and an opportunity to meet mentors and professionals who share the same passion in contract management. And it's also emphasized the desire for continuous learning, which I think is critically important in this career field, is to network, to have people that you can rely on and ask questions. There's no dumb questions in contracting. And that, again, that you continually learn and improve. And part of that improvement was the CPCM, earning my accreditation there. That gave me a chance to keep ahead of my peers, or gave me street cred at least with industry, that they recognize my knowledge and expertise in contract management. So again, I hope to provide as leadership for an NCMA those same kind of experiences that I've had throughout my career for those folks and the members in our community.
Well, that's exciting. Your career journey success. We like to talk about NCMA as a place to go to be on your career journey, wherever it takes you. So, thank you for sharing that and amazing perspective on how NCMA can be powerful in your careers. So, on to the next question. Speaking of perspectives, what fresh perspective or innovative approaches do you bring to this role? How do you plan to build upon the work of past leadership to drive NCMA forward?
Yeah, good question. I definitely plan to build on the leadership and the folks that preceded me in this position. But again, I believe that NCMA's legacy is building and elevating our contracting as a profession. And I want to continue to do that. I want to provide collaboration and networking opportunities within the members so that they can grow and continue to develop wherever they are in their career journey, whether that's someone just starting out or someone seasoned in contract management. I'm also really excited about this the contract management standard. Excuse me. And for the folks online, if you haven't heard about that, we're now at version 4 of
Addition
contract
four, indeed.
management standard. And I think that's vitally important for our career field and for NCMA. And it provides that common framework and that common um, language, if you will, for contract professionals. And I think I'll probably talk a little bit more about the contract management standard in future questions. But yeah, I definitely want to continue to build and elevate NCMA and to provide an opportunity for everybody to grow in their contracting journey.
Well, I always say that we're standing on the shoulders of giants who led before us, and we are here because of them. And delighted to hear about your reference to the contract management standard. For those of you watching online, it is the edition 4 is soon to be out, probably the July timeframe, and it will be a more globally accessible international standard for contract management. So, looking ahead, what is your vision for the future of contract management, and how do you plan to build connections and collaboration between NCMA, its partners, and its members to make that vision a reality?
Yeah, I already mentioned I want to continue to grow, and right now contract management standard is an American National Standard Institute accredited standard, but we want to take that to a globally recognized standard so that wherever you are in contract management, wherever you are on the globe, that we all, buyers and sellers, industry and government, talk the same talk and have that same professional framework. So I'm really interested in taking ANSI through the ISO, the International Standards Organization certification process, to get that recognition and again elevating NCMA and to be the voice and the standard for us professionally as an organization and as contracting managers. I also think that building on a relatively new venture with World CC as our contract and or commerce and contract management institute, I want to continue that. I think that provides a collective basis of research and tools that we can provide to the contracting professionals to make sure that contracting folks remain relevant, valued, important, adaptable, flexible, and they have the benefit of the research and the products that CCMI will produce to help them in their career journey. I think that's pretty important.
Well, it's exciting. I think the Institute is really going to be a very powerful enhancer of how we elevate our practice. For you online, if you're interested in the standard, if you go to ncmahq.org/CMS, if you want to become an adopter of the globally accessible version, which is edition 4, please visit ncmahq.org/adopters. You can also visit the Commerce and Contract Management Institute's website, which is where the standard will live going forward. So on to another question.
That's good stuff. You had that all from memory.
All
You're
from
pretty good.
memory, even though I have great cards here. So next up is, we have a very unique position right now to influence and shape policies. You can look around what's happening in Washington. We have initiatives of our own that we've started to try to help support acquisition efficiency. How do you see NCMA's role evolving in policy and regulations? And how do you plan to build relationships with those key stakeholders?
Yeah, that's a really timely question given the change of administration and what's happening in terms of executive orders and how that's impacting the contracting management or contracting career field and the federal government writ large. So I think NCMA is in a unique position to help in that regard, in that we're unique in that we provide a non-biased, uh, non-political organization and perspective from our 20,000 membership that I think lends credibility to the position when NCMA weighs in. We have guardrails, right? We're not going to lobby, but we should be there at the table as these policies are being debated and new rules and regulations are being set. I think it's important for rule makers and legislators to understand that NCMA is the recognized professional organization of the contract management workforce. Along those lines, what I'm really excited about is a recently announced initiative, our Federal Acquisition Rewrite and Acquisition Efficiency Workforce Working Group. I know that's a mouthful,
It is.
but that's really a working group led by thought leaders in our community, both from industry, academia, buyers, and sellers, in which we'll provide important insights when asked, not lobbying, but when asked by Congress to provide our impact or our input into those policy initiatives. And we'll work in concert, that working group will work in concert with CCMI to provide fact-based, data-driven inputs on those policies. And I think that will help shape and give us an opportunity to, again, make sure that the contracting workforce, as we go through these changes, remains relevant, it remains heard. It's important to be at the table, to be a voice for those 20,000. That's 20,000 members. There's many more contracting management folks.
Well, we have our customer base is 100,000. So
Yeah, so I think NCMA to be recognized by industry, and that's going back to that CMS standard. That gives us some gravitas with those key policymakers to show that again, we're a professional organization. We have our stuff together, and that we speak from a common language, a common framework for all contracting professionals. And I believe that gives us some, as I said, credibility and a valuable resource for Congress to come ask us for our inputs on those types of things.
indeed, and certainly the Commerce and Contract Management Institute, sir, and in partnership with World Commerce and Contracting, we are going to be leaning forward in this opportunity for change and opportunity for efficiency through that acquisition efficiency working group. So, delighted for that. A quick call out to Wes Bennett and Sarai Correa for chairing that working group. Thank you so much for your contributions to our community. So, you
Can I add, Craig,
sure.
before we go on? Again, I didn't say there's really three goals for that working group. And one, it's the increase efficiency. So they'll be providing inputs to the FAR, what's called the FAR overhaul or the rewrite, so that we can provide inputs to make sure that we eliminate bureaucracy and we speed the acquisition process and the contracting process. So they'll be providing inputs or be prepared to provide inputs for the FAR working group. The other thing is looking at workforce empowerment. So as the context and as things are shifting with the federal government and how business is being done, we want to make sure that the contracting workforce adapts as well. So that working group will be looking at training policies and how to then continue to ensure that the workforce remains relevant in the future. And the third goal is acquisition or outcome based agility and research based agility, using CCMI and that research tool to provide avenues and maybe not avenues, but products that can be used to ensure that our contract management folks, professionals, are implementing outcome based agile contract solutions that are focused on successful mission outcomes.
Indeed, indeed. And that's certainly going to be one of the powerful element or many of the powerful elements of the working group is
Yeah.
there's a lot of change. And this is our opportunity, speaking of career journeys and helping people have successful career journeys and helping them on that way through training education that maps to these efficiencies. How should someone be thinking about it, particularly in light of what's coming, right? Because we would anticipate category management driving more are being driven more when we go to more of a GSA common purchase model. What are your thoughts on that? I mean, how do you think about
Yeah.
category management?
Yeah, I'm a believer in category management, in capturing spend under management, and collectively as at government, there's buying power with more, right? Just like when you go shopping, there's a bunch of you, you get better prices, or if you buy more, you get better prices. I think the philosophy in category management is sound. I love it. I think there's some challenges though in execution. And I work in major services acquisition. So category management to me makes a lot of sense if you're buying sprockets and widgets and you're going to buy the Army and the Navy and the Air Force, for example, are all buying sprockets to collectively group those and take advantage of that leverage as a buyer. Where I think there's some challenge that we're still working for. It's not insurmountable, but the challenge is in services where each service is pretty unique and specific. And so to try to collectively, for example, do aircraft maintenance across the Marines, Army, and the Navy and do one contract for that under category management, the nuances of not only the aircraft, but the way the culture and the organizations execute, that would be tough. But in I say that the Air Force has taken on an initiative where we have uh, a best in class multiple award contract in which we have aircraft maintenance services and we all place task orders. Air Education and Training Command does it, Air Combat Command does it. So we're able to use category management in that regard.
Oh, that's
So I'm
great.
not, I kind of got lost. So I'm not sure if I answered your question
No, you did.
specifically. I think it's a good thing going to GSA and the initiative to push to GSA. Again, I think that makes sense. If you look at the whole of government, we already have a central point for category management and buying, and that is GSA. And through a variety of reasons and policy and lessons learned, it was splintered out. I think the administration's goal of looking at that right now and trying to wheel that back in is good. And they're starting with IT procurements, right? Making GSA the center for IT procurements. I think that's excellent. We just need to see what makes sense as we add more to that.
Indeed, because the mission reality, though, and there are times when you need your team together, that acquisition team together, close to the mission. So
Yeah.
it will be a journey to figure out the balance between what does get centralized or what is allowed to happen through the team locally.
I think, yeah, what you've just said spurred me too is that's the other critical part about you need to be close to the mission, right? The more you centralize, the farther away from the actual mission or where the rubber meets the road, so to speak, that becomes a concern. And so in my organization, again, I have operators and folks from all about 35 different career fields that come together. I'm not sure if you centralize that in an organization, if they'll have that same expertise, nor do they have the same buy-in as a key stakeholder for the execution and the successful outcome of that mission or that contract they put in place.
Indeed. So switching gears into AI,
Mm.
we talked a little bit about AI in terms of how someone would engage NCMA. What would be some advice for someone? And I know obviously you can't talk about on behalf of Air Force because many initiatives are running. And we talked about it for those listeners online. NCMA and through our Commerce and Contract Management Institute did a session at the Navy Postgraduate Acquisition Research Program, and we talked a lot about most negotiated terms and where we over negotiate on things that don't matter in outcome when you actually get to post award. But we did a segment as well about AI and how AI can improve how we train. So we didn't necessarily
Mhm.
look at it in practice. And World CC, of course, and the Commerce and Contract Management Institute have a mountain of data and research reports on AI in our practice. But for someone who's still kind of worried about it, someone who thinks their job's going away, that sort of thing, how would you help guide them or advise them to one, engage it, and number two, think about it in a broader, different context?
Well, what you just said is important. You need to engage, you need to figure it out, you need to learn it, you need to play with it. Just go on your Microsoft browser right now and click on Copilot and ask it some questions and figure out and see quickly the value there. Um, in terms of fear, that was always the rub, right? Is AI or robotic process automation is going to replace me. I can't remember somebody that I remember, I can't remember who that I was talking to said AI is not going to replace the human, but organizations and contract managers that use AI will replace contracts and organizations that don't use it. And I thought that was kind of a, aha moment for me, in that we can use AI to simplify some of the rote things that everybody listening, you come to work every day and you do something every day and you're like, why do I still do this? Let's let AI do that and
Mhm.
free you up, free contracting people up to do the critical thinking and the skills in terms of creating and fashioning new contracts, innovative acquisition strategies, how to get the mission accomplished quicker. Let's spend time doing that versus checking 9.102 FAR responsibility and did the contractor do this, this, and this. Let's let AI do that. So I think it's going to be a great tool. The extent to which we use it will be interesting and how far to go. I've already talked to some folks in NCMA that on the sell side are using it to respond to requests for proposals and develop
Mhm.
proposals. I've talked to some folks and in our organization figuring out how to use AI to evaluate proposals and what takes us 6 months and 5 people locked in a room evaluating 200 proposals. Could we do that quicker and provide something out of AI than that individuals trust but validate, right? We
Yeah.
validate that, and there's still issues with AI with hallucinations and poor references, and but can we use it to speed that up? And I think that's going to be important.
Indeed. So I think the answer here is that currently, I mean, we know in the longer run there may be differences, and we know from many other technologies, or when we went from the horse to the car,
Yeah.
anyone who managed horses thought they were, we were all was lost. But more jobs were created when automobiles came in. Same with the internet age. Same with
Exactly.
with computers. I recognize that people think AI is different, but at least in the short run, the only human that's going to be replaced is the one that isn't a human machine combo, that they're together, not taking on those tasks.
The other thing you and I have talked about in a different form or just in meeting in passing is my concern with AI is how that is going to shape the nature of the contracting workforce. And so for you and I and for practitioners that have been around for a while and have scar tissue like I do, we can use AI and then we can validate it based on our experiences and everything we've learned, right? There's a generation that starts today. And if they start using AI when they become senior leaders, how will they know the blocking and tackling, some people are said, or the X's and O's of contracts? And have they really understood the fundamental principles of doing the deal? And then will they be able to execute and provide value at the end, 20 years, when they're now in a senior leadership position? So I think where NCMA has a potential role and a lot of opportunity is in training that acquisition workforce. Let's see how the FAR rewrite goes. What's left there? I think we can engage there. And then again, in this world of AI, how is our training model and what can NCMA do to provide value to our members to help them on their career path to not get left behind?
Now, switching gears, we want to talk a little bit about our current strategic journey. So, those of you may know, NCMA has a 3-year strategic planning cycle. We are in the last year of that strategic plan and working under Tim's year toward a new strategic plan, a lot changing. But I do want to talk a little bit about this year because we need to celebrate our successes. And one of the key themes here is that we are going to underscore our commitment to strengthening collaboration across the entire acquisition lifecycle and those teams. So many of folks on listening here know that you actually lead an integrated team across the acquisition lifecycle. So how do you envision events like our Nexus, which was created to, in fact,
Yep.
show that and demonstrate that? How do you see that helping to build bridges across acquisition functions? And then a little bit extended on that is what strategies do you have in mind to ensure that we can get all of those stakeholders? Because it's not just the acquisition teams, you need the supplier teams at the table, you need all of the other folks that are part of the acquisition lifecycle.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think Nexus is critically important, and I give NCMA a lot of props for developing what I think's first of a kind. You've got a multifunctional team, contracting and program managers and finance and quality assurance and engineers and all these folks that come together to make it happen. And in my experience in 37 years, each of those communities has a stovepiped, uh, specialized training, and there's no one educational track to get them to all talk together. And Nexus is just a beautiful forum to get them again in a safe space, not under the stress of an immediate acquisition or timelines and milestones or working with industry and government on a specific requirement. But it gets the multifunctional team to include our partners. I say our partners, I'm on government side, with industry, and it puts them together in a forum in which we can do common training, we can do exercises together to work through it. And so I think that's an amazing vehicle. And I'll continue to work in my terms of the board that we continue to push Nexus. How do we get that out and get that word out? We'll continue to work through the board. Our board of advisors are folks that are intricately or integral to the ecosystem of acquisition and get that word out so we advertise that. But I do think it's critical that we get the multifunctional team involved. From my perspective, when I grew up, I said early in the Air Force, it was contracting. And we tend to think that, here's contracting and the world revolved around contracting. And whether we liked it or not, the contracting officer kind of became the program manager and by default, the traffic cop for all these other functions because there was an absence there and contracting took it on and the CO, contracting officer, took on that leadership role. I believe it's critical that, again, acquisition is a team sport. The previous chair, Wendy Masiello, was great at saying, it's a team sport. So we need to get them all involved. And I think NCMA and through Nexus, we're providing a vehicle and a forum that I don't believe exists anywhere else. So we need to get the word out. We need to keep doing it. We're looking for our third presentation, and I think that's a good thing.
So thank you for that. We're coming up next year. Go to the NCMA website, ncmhq.org/nexus, NEXUS, to learn more about that. So moving on to, or expanding on, I should say, that conversation about engagement between industry and government to enhance outcomes, because our previous conversation, the one we just had about Nexus, was about building those stronger teams, building stronger relationships. And now in this new world order that we're about to face, it's all about outcomes and it's all about agility and outcomes, which is a different model. So, from that perspective, how do you think we can continue to build deeper engagement between industry and government?
Well, I already said, I think NCMA is unique in that we offer that, I wouldn't say stress free, but a non biased and open, a safe space for industry and government and buyers and sellers to come together. One of the things I hope to do as the chair is to provide more opportunities for collaboration and more input from our collective community, our 20,000 members, but the other 100,000 contracting folks. So we want to continue to do research. I think our folks online, you'll expect to probably see some more surveys. We're always looking to pick your brain and to get input from surveys. So don't hit delete, take the minute when you see a survey from the NCMA. It's going to help you. It's going to help the workforce develop. So I want to continue to push that this year. I also want to work at we're creating a new hub for information in which individuals can collaborate and talk real time and work over challenges and opportunities and what's going on. It's kind of an offshoot from what we have right now, which is our collaborate space, which is exclusive to NCMA members. If you're not a member, you're not able to participate in that. But that again provides kind of the topic du jour or the day. And I'm on there every day. I get an email that says, here's the topics, and anybody can ask a question. And boom, right there, you have NCMA members piping in and providing their expertise. So I want to continue to provide spaces for industry and government to collaborate and share ideas and come together.
So I love you're referencing NCMA research. It'll also come from the Commerce and Contract Management Institute.
Hmm.
Collectively, between us and our partner with World CC, we cover over 200,000 practitioners
Wow.
around the world. So this is a powerful opportunity for us to bring data forward and findings forward that is sliced and diced across sectors. So we can look at how public sector or U.S. public sector compares with global public sector or compares with A&D or services in a commercial line. So very excited
That
about that.
that's awesome. We haven't ever had that as a community, as a resource to use, and I think
Indeed.
that'll be invaluable. The other thing I didn't mention, how to bring industry and government together is through our membership engagement committee, which is one of the several committees we have on the board. We want to use that committee to focus on the chapter level, at the chapter, not just national, but at the chapter level, to make sure that headquarters NCMA and at the national level, we're providing the resources and the information that the local chapters are seeing and what their industry and what their buyers and sellers and academia at the local chapter level need. So we'll continue to work and emphasize the chapter model and engagement at the chapters to make sure we're providing, and so that everybody, whether they're in a virtual chapter or an actual chapter, that they have the resources to continue their professional development and journey in contract management.
Indeed, that local connection and along with
Huge.
communities of practice is going to be very important. And as I mentioned earlier, NCMA is in its next round of developing its 3-year strategic plan. Every single one of the committees, including member engagement committee that Tim just mentioned, will be part of that exercise to make sure that we are envisioning the NCMA that you're going to need in a couple of years' time by 2030. So, next question, we talked a little bit about engagement and our community being thriving.
Mhm.
How do you plan to connect with and support members at all their stages in their career journey, as I mentioned?
Yeah, I definitely feel the weight as the chair that that's my duty and responsibility to make sure that regardless of where you are in your career journey, just somebody coming in or as a seasoned veteran in contract management, that all are welcomed, all are valued, and that we provide a place that's welcoming for all, and that we provide opportunities through virtual networking and through collaboration workshops and through our online presence and through the chapters that people can contribute and participate and continue in their journey. So those are things again that my predecessors and you and the NCMA have done a great job. I want to continue that and build on that momentum.
Well, that's exciting because there's another element of engagement that we're working on as well, and that's how artificial intelligence not just impacts our community, which we have a community of practice,
Right.
we have other things that allow people to come together on that, but also how people engage us. So we do not want to remove humans from the loop, but there are times when people need an answer. So they're going to come back to the site,
Mhm.
use an AI chatbot, and get answers there. So engagement comes in two forms on that career journey. Just know that there will always be a human here at NCMA to help you on that journey.
Thank you.
So, moving on to some of the things that I mentioned earlier about how you build leaders, we want to talk about that within NCMA. So, what steps will you take to build mentorship opportunities and career development pathways uh, early profession or even later, because we're seeing a lot of folks
Mhm.
move in and out of different types of contracting, whether it's state and local, education, commercial, federal. Everyone's at play right now, so it could be at any point in their careers. So, what are some of those steps? And then, what advice would you give to someone who's looking to build a stronger foundation in contract management?
I'm glad you talked about mentorship. Mentorship I found is it's been critical to my development and to get me to where I am today. Nobody makes it anywhere on their own, and NCMA provides a perfect background and foundation for people looking to connect. If you're a junior looking to connect with seasoned members of NCMA, vice versa, NCMA has several leadership development programs that provide mentoring and a place to connect. We have our new executive leadership development program for those that are senior in their journey or beyond, overcoming the apprentice or just new. And then we've had the longstanding contract management leadership development program, CMLDP, and there's a vast network of graduates that have now gone on to become mentors
Mm.
for individuals. So I think, NCMA, I'll continue to push and expand and make sure those two programs and others that are being thought of, that we continue that. But advice for somebody new in their journey is to get involved, right? And take advantage of everything NCMA has to offer. Coming to our meetings virtually at the chapter level or at the World Congress or Emerge that's happening right now in terms of a small business community, I think that's a place where everybody can get involved. I have found, as I said, NCMA provided that opportunity. It connected me early on in 1992 with people that I still connect with, that people share the passion, that are still involved in contract management, that I think are key to development. So NCMA can provide a network for you to either provide your expertise or gain expertise no matter where you are in your contract management journey.
Well, it's about sharing
Yeah.
ultimately, because we're here together. And you mentioned our leadership development program. CMLDP has a really good record of developing folks
Yeah.
who are either leading buying authorities or their counterparts in industry. So it's an amazing program. You can go see more, of course, at the NCMA website under our resources section. So the final question for you is, what is the one thing you are most excited about as you step into your role as board chair?
Yeah, that's not fair. There's a lot of things I'm excited about. I don't know if I can mention just one. Obviously, probably the first would be just the opportunity to continue and engage with the outstanding professionals, colleagues, and contract management professionals in this organization. I want to continue to collaborate and make sure that we're all connected. So I'm really excited about continuing that journey and meeting more people in NCMA. The second thing, though, and we've talked about it several times, is continuing the development of the contract management standard into an international standard. I can't emphasize how I believe that's critical to elevating contract management. It provides, again, we don't do anything in a vacuum in global commerce and trade and contracts and acquisitions. To be able to speak the same language and to have it recognized standard across no matter where you work and wherever your desk is located, I think that's critical. So I'm really excited about getting that CMS version 4 into the ISO standard. If we can do that in a year, I know that's pretty aggressive, but I want to push for that. And again, in closing, I just think contract management and contracting has a bright future. A lot going on, as Winston Churchill said, never waste a good crisis. Something like that. I might not have got it exactly right, but there's a lot of volatility and change, but there's a lot of opportunity to see, seek, and seize opportunity right now. So I think we can do that. I'm excited to be a part of that. I'm excited to see where NCMA goes next year and beyond.
Is there anything else you want to say? You think you covered it all?
Yeah, the only other thing I would say is, again, you mentioned that our acquisition or our strategic plan
Yeah.
expires this year. So we're really looking to, through the variety of resources that we have, to get inputs from NCMA members to say, I'm open to where should we be going 3 years from now, 4 years from now. And it's difficult because we have a lot of volatility, uncertainty. And so I feel the way does the incoming chair to make sure that our strategic plan puts us on a path to be successful and puts our contracting workforce on a path to be successful 3 years from now. So I'm really excited about the opportunity we have this year to finalize our plan for the next 3 years.
So essentially, who do we want to be in 2030? Not
Exactly.
just how our organization serves the community, but how our practice, in fact, adds value to wherever they are, to the missions they serve or the corporations that they work with.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Yeah, it is. It's nervous. I'm nervous, but it's all good.
Great. Well, Tim, thank you so much. I look forward to serving with you next year.
Me too, Greg.
Anything else you'd like to say to the viewers at home?
No, get engaged. NCMA is the place to be.
Fantastic. Thank you all for being here. Look forward to this on NCMA's website and through our magazine. And you can see Tim and I at World Congress, July 13th through 16th in Grapevine, Texas. Be well.